Hello, welcome back to 3D Drawing for Your Model Railway. In today's lesson we're going to continue with the DTS 62. I've been spending a little bit of time looking at a bit more of the detail underneath, and I was going to there's a part in here. If we look on photographs, you can see there's like a rod that comes down, it's got a bar that goes across with a couple of extra wheels on it. So I was looking at this and going to add that on in today's lesson, but then I was looking at other photos of other units and they don't have it fitted. And the particular one that I'm modelling doesn't have it fitted, so I don't want to install it on my model. I'm going to leave that blank. Obviously, I'll leave the photo up here so you can have a good look of what you're going to have. You've got a pipe, you've got some sort of extrusion you can do on the bottom here to make this fitting, and then an extrusion going across. Something comes down so that you can extrude onto the wheel that goes across. Now you can sit and draw that if you want, or like me, if you wanted to, you can have the one without. I don't think it needs it. The one I'm modelling doesn't have it. The detail under there looks, it's busy underneath. It's not like people are going to look under there and go, "Oh, there's a massive gap there." It's busy, and prototypically, the one that I'm modelling doesn't have it. So, yeah, if you don't want to have it, don't. So I'm going to move on from that. I'm going to start to look at the roof part that we've got missing, the exhaust that goes on the top. I'm going to look to add that in today's lesson. Okay, so looking at the photos, unfortunately there's no real good photos looking from the top down, so we're going to have to sort of work from the side. So this is the part we're looking at doing here. So it's got slanted up each side and like a two-fold, so it comes up diagonally and then diagonally again. You can't really see it. You've got two exhausts coming out each side here, and this probably shows it about the best. You can see the two angles, so it comes diagonally inwards and then inwards again, and a little tiny flat piece across and back down on the other side. It's not the greatest of pictures, unfortunately, but we're just going to have to sort of work with it and then see how we can go. So going to come into Fusion. Now we know we're looking at this end here where the exhaust comes out here. So I'm going to create, first of all we're going to select the roof panel, so we're working on the roof, that one. I'm going to create a offset plane. I'm going to do it offset from the end of the engine compartment. I'm going to try and put it sort of roughly in the middle there of this part that comes up, and then we'll work outwards from there. Create a sketch using that profile, and let's spin it around to the right end. This is the end we're looking at. And as I said, there's no real good pictures of looking at the width or anything like that. And if we look at the canvases that we've got at the top here, it's sort of on the canvas, so we can sort of roughly work around this. So let's start by finding the midpoint. So project this line across, find that midpoint, and then we can come up like that. We come across, diagonally down, and then down like that. And then we can use the mirror tool to mirror those lines. I won't mirror across that. Let's see if we can do mirror, that one, and then mirror on that one. There we go. Okay, so we now got that mirrored across. So whatever we do on one, it's going to be the same on the other. So we can just dimension this as it is. And that locks that all into place. And we can extrude that. Now if we rotate it, have the canvas on this side, you can see again it's not on the canvas, it's on the other end for some reason. Oh, the canvas is the wrong way around, that's what it is. I can't really flip that canvas around easily because it will offset the position slightly. It's not a problem, we'll just go with what we've got. Let's do symmetrically and we'll try and make it look similar sort of length to that. Got to be slightly shorter than where these exhausts come out, because the exhaust pipes come out at the end of it. I'm going to go for 3.5 millimeters. Okay, and then I'm going to create a sketch on this flat surface we've got here, and I'm going to project. Let's project all of the bottom surface there. Shouldn't need to go and drawing on it. We'll find the midpoint. I'm going to draw a line upwards. I'm going to turn that line into a construction line, so again, so I can mirror things across. Back into that sketch. Okay, so I'm going to do a diagonal line coming up. Actually, I need to project that line first of all, and then we can draw that diagonal line coming up from there to that. Let's go for 50 degrees, I think. Add that to coincidence at the top. Snap that to that line, and then we can mirror that feature across on that centre line there, and then we have to just fill these in like that. So you can select those profiles, those two there, and then we can extrude those all the way across the model, and that deletes. Doesn't matter about how far it goes, as long as you go beyond the end, it deletes the diagonal sides on it. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is project. Let's create a sketch first, right? So on top surface, and then I'm going to project, if I can, that. And the other side if possible. Just lagging a little bit. Turn those canvases off. So just projecting them, so I get these ovals here. So these circular parts. I'm going to delete that top part if I can. Selecting. Let me and delete that. Just getting rid of those bits and that one. Okay, so looking at this picture here, you can see the pipes come up and then they turn 90 degrees towards the side. So we've got to try and add that into here. So we can use these two profiles and just extrude these upwards slightly. So you want it to still be, only a tiny bit, maybe 0.1, and then we've got the profile there. So what I'm then going to do is I'm going to create an offset plane from that one, and I'm going to move that into about -3 from the side there, maybe a little bit more. 2.8, just to give it a little bit of room to come up and round. I'm going to create a sketch on that profile. I'm going to have it roughly in line with where these are. So if I can't really project that circle properly, so there's no point trying to project that. So I'm just going to try and draw a circle on the top here, similar sort of size, about that height. You know that I think they're 1 millimeter pipes. Just check that. If I inspect the pipe, that's going to work there. I'm going to have to come underneath. Can't get to it. And so one. Right, never mind. Let's just go back to the top. I think one looks maybe a little bit too big. I'm going to go for 0.9. Finish that sketch and then I'm going to extrude that. We rotate it round. Extrude it back 0.1. Click on OK. And then I'm going to use the Loft tool to loft between the two profile faces. And I want those to both be tangents. Like that. Okay. You see how it comes up and curves 90 degrees to the side. Okay, so now I'm going to, we've got our mid-plane mirror that we can use, which is, which one is it? That one there. So we can mirror features, select those two features across our plane. Okay. So we've now got the exhaust coming out both sides there. Now if you wanted to, you could drill a hole in the end there to make them look hollow. I'm just going to leave them as is because they're going to be painted black. You're not really going to notice them. And that gives us those exhausts that we're looking at there. Quite happy with those. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to draw is there's a couple of vents here. There's two on each, sorry, one on each side here. So I'm going to draw these two parts onto the roof. And they look like they're positioned roughly about here, I think. So again, we're going to come onto that top roof section, get a sketch on that top profile. I'm just going to use a circular tool at the moment. I'm going to put something like this. I'm going to go for 1mm diameter. Let's define distance from there to that edge. Let's go for 2.7mm, and distance from that point to the end of the cab roof there, and we'll go for 39mm. Then extrude this upwards. Let's rotate the size of it to 1mm is probably too much, maybe 0.5mm. Okay, if we look at the shape of it, you see it's sort of domed across the top, so the easiest way to do that really is if we just create a sketch on top again using a circle, make it a little bit bigger, so let's go for say 1.6mm. Select both profiles, extrude upwards. Again, we'll go up to 0.5mm, and then we can use the fillet tool to round off that top edge. 1.3. I think I might have to just go 0.5. Have a look at the picture and what it compares with. No, it does go up a little bit, so yeah, I'm going to go for 0.4. I think. No, I'll go with 0.3. I think that looks better. Sometimes you've got to do that, sort of play with it. I think I prefer it that sort of size. Okay, so the next thing we do is just mirror that across, because as I said, there's two of them. So we're going to create a mirror of that, that, and that. So we've already got features selected. Mirror plane, I believe it's going to be plane 1. Let's just check that. Yep, plane 1, which is the one that goes along the unit. And that should put one on each side. Not entirely sure what those vents are for, but they don't seem to have anything below them. There's nothing here that comes down, so maybe it's just to help allow heat or something come out. Although there's a pipe here, but that's definitely offset, so I don't know if that pipe maybe goes up, twists in. Maybe it's something we need to look at in some of the photos. Let's scroll through, see if I can. Ah, here we go. Okay, so they are going to have a pipe that comes up, and it looks like there's some sort of silence or something in there. Let's see if I've got a photo inside it. Yeah, Okay, so that's been taken off. You can see this pipe comes up and goes up to the roof. So we need to have a look at other photos internally. That one maybe. That looks like it might be a good one. Yeah. Okay. Again, it's not really clear what the shape is here. I think maybe there's just two circular parts that go up to it. We've definitely got a couple of pipes that are coming up to that. We may need to create. They look like they go up here. Okay, so I think this one shows it probably quite well. So you can see the pipes, there's two of them come up, and these are obviously going to be connected to the roof part. These are going to be, they'll be printable, but they will be quite difficult to do, I think. We can definitely draw them in and give them a go. So they're going to be connected to the engine compartment. So I need to select that one. Okay, so how are we going to do this? We probably will need to move these, I think, in a minute. Let's go create an offset plane from plane number 1. Let's turn off all of the other stuff. Offset that, so it's roughly in line with this. Might be a little bit more inboard than that. Let's go with 2mm offset. Okay, and create a sketch on that plane. I'm just going to use a line and then going to pipe. Use the pipe tool to come up. It's going to go into the roof compartment before it bends, really. Let's have a look at the roof panel. Okay, so let's come to there. I'm horizontally and vertically constrain that to that bottom corner. So these two are now the same height here. Or it should be the same height. Yep. Okay, that comes up. And then we have another line back. Let's just drag that up. In there, and then we have a line from there that comes along maybe 3 meters, and you can fillet that corner off like that. Dimension distance from that point to that point. I'm going to bring that into, say, 0.6, I think. Height there, 10 millimeters. Okay, then finish that sketch. I'm going to use the pipe tool for that. So using the pipe on there, I'm going to do a 1.3 millimeters joint. So it's just cutting into this ever so slightly for that extra bit of strength at the bottom there. It's probably actually a little bit too big. Yeah, I'm going to reduce that down. I'm going to go down to 1 millimeter and I'll move the whole lot in on the sketch. Reduce that to 0.4. So it will cut into there by 0.2, but it will come up and round. And then this needs on the end surface there. Just going to create a circle, and I'm going to go for 2 millimeters in diameter. It certainly looks a lot bigger, whatever it is up here, than what we've got. Select that part, thank you. see if we can see on the photo how far along it comes. So it sort of looks like it's, you know, halfway along this tank here. So if we turn, that's the hydraulic oil tank back on. About that, so we're going 4 millimeters there. To join. That's not touching the roof, but it's, you know, it's pretty close under there. We can analyse that to see how close it is. If we go to sectional section analysis, select that face, you can then rotate, and you can see how close that is under there. That is minute. I've got that pretty much spot on there. Let's cancel that. So yeah, that would be quite difficult to support. We'll have to depend on which way we rotate this to support it. But no, it will improve the look there, I think. Let's mirror those two features, and with the mirror plane, we're going to use plane 1, which is the one down the middle, so these two will be symmetrically next to each other. Now you can see they're probably too far apart, which doesn't surprise me. So I can edit that feature. I'm just going to bring that in, maybe to 1 millimeter offset. See how that looks. And then we'll see if we can find pictures internally. So looking on this picture, you can see how they're offset internally of the two exhausts there, which these two look like they are. They pretty much look like they're touching at the top here. If I reduce that ever so slightly, just to get them two to touch a little bit more, then that'll give us that little extra bit of support in there. So if we change that to minus 0.9, that'll just, yeah, I think I'll go with that. With them overlapping, make sure they're not two separate bodies there. Yeah, they were, I thought they were. Let's edit that feature, tell it to join there. Separate body there at the top. So edit that one, and that should already be joined. Yeah. Okay, so because they're hidden, I'm not too concerned about them overlapping slightly, and I want that little bit, give it a bit of strength up there, so that when we print them, they'll come out okay. Again, that's just extra detail we're adding on this part now. So now we've got these installed, we can look at moving these two vents to the right place. So again, we're still on the roof panel now, and then we need to move these about. So it's going to be this sketch. I'm going to edit that one. Okay, let's try and see what we do. We go inboard a bit, so I'm going to change that to 4 millimeters, and I'm going to extend the length of it to 42, and see where that puts us. So the length, I'm pretty happy with that. It's, you know, reasonably centered there. We're not going to have an argument over that. And then they could maybe do becoming inboard slightly. So on that same sketch, let's just change the distance from the edge to 4.3 millimeters. Rotate that around. Can't close up much more without them pretty much touching, and I don't want that because that's going to be more obvious up here than these two touch under there. So I'm going to live with that distance apart. I think that's okay. And the distance here I'm happy with. Typically I've just found this photo which shows this part really well, and you can see the touching here pretty much touch on the roof. So I think we've got this looking pretty much spot on there. I'm going to leave it as it is and continue to work on something else. I hope you've enjoyed that lesson. We've managed to add this detail onto the roof here. We've highlighted the difference that you don't have with the part in the middle, and we've added these extra exhausts that come on to the side of the engine compartment. So yes, almost there. I think, going to be going around now, just really starting to add in some more fine details if possible. I'm going to draw. I've got the plan for the railings. I'm going to draw them on both sides, but I'm debating about printing them because they'll obviously be either really fine and they won't print particularly well, or they'll be a little bit over scale and they'll look a little bit too thick. And they'll be obviously painted white, so they'll stand out quite a lot. So that's something I'll be really looking at, potentially working on. I'll draw them and then I'll have a think about, maybe try to do a test print. If it works, okay, great. If it doesn't, then I'll file them off and then work on something else with them. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed today's lesson. If you have, please like and subscribe to make sure you're notified when the next episode goes up.